What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Colecast. I am Francis, and I am joined by Paul. He is our first demonstrator this weekend. Yeah, because it's on Friday and Saturday. That's weekend. This weekend, and Paul is enigmatic. I learned a new word for you. Paul is enigmatic. He is kind of mysterious, and he is not aloof, but people are aloof to him. He tends to be a behind-the-scenes guy. If you ask anybody around Indiana in the blacksmithing community who is the backbone of what we're able to do now, it comes from a lot of Paul's hard work. We've had Rob on. Rob's also a good answer for that. We'll get Steve on someday. We've had Steve on. So we wanted to get Paul on because he is genuinely everyone's favorite person, and he is so helpful, and he does everything behind the scenes. And we wanted to make sure that people got to know a little bit about him, because he's demonstrating, and what you do is very different from, I think, what the internet knows about blacksmithing. A lot of it that you see is either knife making or cool power hammers and presses and induction forges and, all the cool stuff that the cool kids do. But you do a lot of teamwork, hand striking, a lot of the relationship between a blacksmith and a striker is becoming a lost art. And when you go to an event, even though you have access to a lot of the tools that could be used, you still do it the old-fashioned way. And I really like that because I'm a big fan of, presses and power hammers, obviously I'm a fan of, but if you don't know how to do it with your hand, you're not going to know how to do it with a hammer.
Yes, it's much more difficult to do it by hand and if you understand that, then translating that to a power hammer or a press is almost easy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same argument when you talk to kids about math and the whole new math thing that they talked about. They taught you what the answer was and how to memorize it, but not how to get there. Yeah. And I think a lot of times when you see the cool flashy videos on Instagram or YouTube or whatever, it teaches you the result. And this isn't, I don't mean to be demeaning to any big YouTuber or anybody that has a big presence for blacksmithing on the internet, but their videos aren't set up to be educational always. They're set up to be flashy and to draw you in, which is cool. We need that. We need to gain awareness that this is still an art form and this is still a craft. But I think a lot of times you lose those couple of steps that really teach you the fundamental basis of what they're doing and how they're getting the result because they pick the flashiness over the instruction. Yes. So one thing I really, really like about Paul, we'll go back to third person here, pretend like Paul's not here, is the basics and watching you teach, the difference between you and I teaching somebody or other people that I've seen teaching. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but for me, the first couple times I forge with somebody, it's like, get it hot, hit it. That's it. I'm not going to teach you anything at all. I just want you to experience the emotion of I got it to turn left, or I got it to do this, or I punched an eye. Whereas I've watched you and I've watched Kevin and I've watched a few of these other guys that kind of the heart of Kurt's group, right? Mm-hmm. Where you get very technical straight out of the gate. And that is something that I don't do. And I'm probably not capable of doing. I don't have the knowledge you do, but I've always really appreciated that about you, and we'll probably touch on that a little bit. But I think today, the only announcement I have is come to the Andy Davis Hammer Inn this Friday and Saturday. Get some raffle tickets. Warriors Way is going to be here. They're going to be raffling off a knife. There's going to be a few vendors here. Buy some stuff from them. Mm-hmm. Support the community, ask questions, get involved. If you're not here to buy stuff, if your shop's completely built out and you don't need anything, grab somebody whose work either you look up to or is a little bit different than yours and have a conversation with them. Create friendships, create bonds, and become a little bit more ingrained in the community. I think something I've learned over the past year, and I keep harping on it, is a lot of our customers, we are their connection to the community. It's, a guy in Florida and a guy in Kansas or whatever, and they're not connected into their local blacksmithing group. And they're not connected into Abana. They're not connected into, whatever, the Florida Artisan Group. So I keep harping on it, but when you come to an event like these, yes, I want you to buy from the vendors and I want you to have a good time and I want you to learn from the demonstrators. But even more than that is I want you to make a new friend, somebody that you can call and say, hey, I'm having trouble making this a 90 degree. You know, I'm using the right part of my anvil and I think I have the right hammer. What am I doing wrong here?
Yeah.
That's so much more valuable than any tool you could pick up at an event, you know, until you're very far along and doing very specialty things. There are some tools that are irreplaceable, but that knowledge is so important. So that's my announcement. Come see us. Come be here at 9 a.m. at the latest to catch Paul's demo. And we'll get going. Paul, tell me a little bit about yourself and your background, what you're willing to share, Mr. Mystery.
Well, I mean, I'm a jack of all trades, master of none, but better than him being a master of one. I do almost anything. I always have. Everything always intrigues me, and I want to know it all. Like, that's my problem.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I do machine work, I do woodworking, I do architecture, I do sculpting, I do art. I do it all. Ham radio, electronics, computers. My day job's in IT.
Yeah.
Like, so I just want to know it all. And I think that's one of the reasons why I don't sleep very often. But for the most part.
Paul famously sleeps for like 2 hours a night, max.
Yeah. And it's amazing what you can get done when you don't sleep very much. You have more hours in the day.
You got an extra 8 hours.
Yeah. Exactly. But growing up, I was homeschooled for a little while through my high school career. I went middle school, elementary, but then went homeschool, and from that point, I was just learning everything I could, teaching myself everything I could. I learned how to rebuild an engine. I learned how to do body work. I basically rebuilt a car up from the ground. Mm-hmm. And that's when my uncle taught me more about electronics, and that's how I got most of my start into IT, but also lived on a farm. Mm-hmm. So we had to make do.
Right.
We weren't rich. I mean, we weren't well off, but we made it work. Mm-hmm. My dad started a landscaping company for his boys to learn the value of $1.
Yeah.
So I would do that in almost all my free time. If I wasn't playing outside or, running in traffic, as a dumb kid. But from there, it was, I got something hot and I beat it with a hammer, sharpening a plowshare, sharpening lawnmower blades, mm-hmm. just getting the dings out and then, filing or grinding it into shape. And then that carried through, and it was probably 15 years ago. I met 16 years ago now. I met a friend that you guys have met as well, Jesse. Mm-hmm. And we hemmed and hawed back and forth for years about, wanting to do blacksmithing and wanting to do this. And do we do a coal forge? Do we do a propane forge? And we hemmed and hawed. And then we never came up with a decision because we were always doing everything else. That
has to be the Jesse in that situation, though, because every time there's a decision to be made, or there's, we could do it that way. There's the joke, I wouldn't have done it that way. It's like there's always. It seems like for you in the interactions that we've had is like you're much more in the like, well, let's just do it and we'll figure it out. And as we go, we'll figure it out. So that has to be Jesse in that situation. That's like, well, what about?
Well, yes and no. Yes. Also, you got to remember this was like years and years ago.
Personal growth.
Yeah. Back before some life-altering events that has pushed me down the path I am. But also, I was in an apartment in Carmel for a while, or in an apartment in Nora, and then an apartment in Carmel. Then we were renting a house up in Westfield, and HOA doesn't.
Yeah, not a fan.
Nor the big corporation that I was renting the house from, not really a fan.
Yeah.
So trying to find a place to actually do it. Now, granted, at that time, Jesse had a house, but also making it down there all the time, not always
he lives
feasible.
like pretty close to like downtown.
Yeah, he's downtown Indianapolis. So there was some iffiness as to what we were deciding. But then I bought my house up in Tipton, and now I had acres to play with and barns galore to do whatever I want. Like I've got a wood shop, I got a machine shop, I got my blacksmith shop, I got my storage barn, I've got my boat barn.
My boat barn.
Yeah, it's got a few boats in it. But it allowed me the creativity and the space to do so.
Yeah.
Because I was, doing woodworking out of our garage that we also had all of our storage in and everything else. So from that point, it was really thought about what to do. And then it was almost 4 years ago, because it was the last Saturday of January is Satellite 13's meeting downtown. And I was out and about driving around, and, I'm a ham radio operator, so I was on my radio. And Doug Wilson, who runs Satellite 13, I was chatting with him, had been chatting with him for a while throughout the year. And then I just asked what he was out doing. And he was like, well, I'm going to go down and open up the blacksmith shop. I was like, wait, what? You're doing what? He's like, yeah, we opened up the blacksmith shop down at the State Fair.
Yeah.
All right, well, I guess I'll see you there. I'm on my way.
Yeah.
I was already out driving, so I'll stop in. So I stopped in there, and just to see what was going on. And so hung out with Doug, met a few other people. That's where I met Rob.
And he was just there as like total happenstance as well, because that's not his typical meeting spot either.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So he was just there on happenstance, just, messing around while I was watching what he was doing and what a couple of the others were doing. And Rob was like, well, where are you at? I'm like, well, I'm up in Tipton. He's like, I know just the place you need to be.
Yep.
And so he told me about Kurt. So then that next Thursday, I had already had plans, but I had just stopped in and introduced myself, and met a few of the guys, and then left. And ever since then, I've been there almost every Thursday.
Yeah.
And now, over the last 2 years, I've pretty much been there every day after work. Yeah. Like I'll get done with my day job, and then I'll go over to Kurt's, and then he calls me second shift. So, and then we're there until 8:30, 9, sometimes 10.
Yeah.
Just doing whatever, whether that be fabrication work, whether that be actually forging work, because I want to learn, I want to know. And over the years, I've taken classes from other smiths. I've asked questions of some of my peers and, some of my mentors, and speaking of what you were talking about earlier, finding somebody to be able to ask questions, right? So part of my demonstration that's going to be happening, I had found an old picture somewhere, and I thought, I really want to try this.
Yeah.
And I had a rough idea of where to begin. So Rob and I attempted said idea. 4, 5, 6 failures later, it was like, okay, we need to reevaluate. I know we need some different tooling. I know we need some different this. And so then I reached out. And I reached out to Jennifer Petrella.
The best.
Yes.
The best.
And I was like, hey, I'm going to try and do this thing. I'm having these problems. I know I need to do X, Y, and Z. What other things can you give me? Just like pointers.
Yeah.
That's all I was really asking, was just pointers. And she was like, oh, I haven't done one of those in 35 years. Give me a second. And she went out to the shop and she just forged out 2 of them.
Yeah.
And was like, yeah, I kind of know what I'm doing. It's coming back to me. And this is what you need to try. This is where I failed at. And openly, these were my failures, and this is what you need to look for. But also, you're using the wrong material. That's your foremost problem.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, well, yeah, I didn't think about that when they were normally doing this type of thing, they were using this material.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's wrought iron. But so then it went back and forth, and, you know, I tried a couple little different ones. So then I was like, okay, well, I need to find some good wrought iron, and went through, tried to find some. None of it is the greatest of quality.
Right. Yeah. Good wrought iron is kind of an oxymoron.
Yeah. Yeah. But so I had some wagon wheels, so I cut them down and stacked them, forged them, drew them out, stacked them, forged them, drew it out, cut, stack, you know, repeat on however many. And I made one bar and tried it. We got a decent result.
Okay.
But then that failed. The next one failed. And then the next one failed in different ways.
Yeah.
So then it was like, okay, well, maybe I didn't refine it enough. You know, I need a tighter grain structure. So I did it again, stacked them up, ran it again and again and again and again, and got it down to where it was a nice tight grain. Tried another one, failed. Tried another one, it failed in a catastrophically way. So at that point, I was just like, all right, I'm doing something wrong, or I have just, this material is just crap. So then we tried a different material upon Rob's suggestion. I didn't really want to use his material because, you know, I don't want to use up his stuff.
Yeah, we've failed this many times, and you're just willing to give your material to me.
Yeah, but he's like, well, this is what I bought it for. Do dumb ideas like this. So it's like, all right, fine. First try.
Yeah.
Worked perfectly. I was like, well, all right, well, I guess this is viable, so this is what my demonstration is going to be. So come out Saturday and see my demonstration. But yeah, so, and then back to getting started. Like, you know, I met Kurt, I met all the guys in the shop. You know, I met Dan, I met Kevin and Noah, I met Chris and Kurt and all the rest of them, Jack, and just learned everything I can, and still learning. Like, it never ends. Kurt has 55 years worth of experience trapped in his head of everything that he's seen.
That's such a good way to put it. It's trapped because we always talk about Kurt. He's so willing to teach and to pull you aside and say, hey man, you gotta try this, you gotta try that. But it's trapped. Like, he can't just sit down and tell you what he knows. He has to see you either doing something wrong, or you have to bring up a project and he has to go through his index and his brain. Yeah. You have to ask, excuse me, that was weird. You have to ask those questions, and you have to get you have to get Kurt in the mind frame of like, okay, this is what we're doing. This is how I would do it. And then those memories and that muscle memory comes back, and he's like, yep, I have that same experience. I did that exact same thing. I had that problem. Here's how I fixed it. And it's all just free. Does not expect anything from you. No, because, you know, he's under the mindset that this should be shared. Like, and that, you know, he looks at our Thursday night group as what will continue it on. You know, because we are what's next. Like, he's not going to do it forever. He knows that. We know that. Like, he's not going to be around forever as much as I would like it to be. But, you know, he will gladly give you as much knowledge that you want freely. And that's what I love about it. And, you know, working with Kurt, I've learned a lot. And working with Jennifer and working with all these other guys that, you know, we push each other. We try to make ourselves better. And, you know, Rob is a great smith. Dan is a great smith. Like, we all go through and we find new projects to challenge ourselves. Like, you know, 3 years ago, we made a simple grill, and it's in the window at Kurt's shop. And he posed it to us as, I'm the customer, you're the blacksmith, figure this out. Like, I want curly things, I want this, I want that.
And we had to, go through, get a materials list, figure out how many hours it's going to take us to do, and come up with a run book of this is your quote, this is what we expect it to cost.
Yeah.
Which was great, because most people don't focus on that. They're just oh, well, yeah, sure, I'll make it. But then you're underwater by the time you finish it, because you're oh, yeah, I'll do that for $200. Well, it's $200 in just the material.
Right.
So now you're out. But it was a good thing. Some people don't think so, but and I'm not in it for a business. Most of us aren't in it for a business. We're just doing it as a hobby. Now, will I always do it just as a hobby? Probably not. I will probably end up taking some things over for Kurt. Like our industrial tong orders and some of the other tools that we make for some of the different Ford shops. I'll be taking that over. Once I get more of a shop set up.
Sure.
But which I'm happy to do, because it would further my goals, further my career, and further my aspirations of being able to continue this endeavor. So if it helps fund me keeping this going, fantastic. And inevitably, I would like to open a school in a sort up at my house.
Yeah.
To where I've got the space, I've got the barn to do it.
Yep.
And Jamie Geyer over in Goshen, Ohio, he's got that school set up over there for the Historical Society, and it would be similar to that, because I've been over there countless times, and just to have it all set up that way, it's a great learning environment.
Yeah.
And that's another great resource. They hold classes, so I know Bart Dillinger, Joe Siebold, all them knife makers and axe makers, or just really anything.
Yeah.
And they've had Ed and Brian over there doing hammer classes and other decorative things. So, and inevitably, we hope to continue this course and disseminate this information out to everybody.
Yeah.
We want people to learn. We want people to be interested in it, because it's our passion. It's what we love. Working with Kurt on doing the beginner blacksmithing, because we would do Saturdays during the winter time and do a beginner blacksmithing course, to where you never have to have swung a hammer before, and we would just bring you in on Saturdays and run it opposite of our Thursday night classes.
Right.
So that way we would get you up to speed, and then you could start coming to Thursday night class. But we have enough smiths in our Thursday night class that we normally just have people come out on Thursday, and somebody will split off and help them and bring them up. So that way they can then just jump straight into
Gary does that a lot, where I just see him walking outside randomly, and there's 8 younglings with him. It's go get him, Gary.
Yep. Gary's really good about that. Kevin has started picking up that mantle as well. Jesse does that as well. When we have some new people, because they'll go off, and Jesse will teach them the basics on, how you draw a taper. This is how you square this up and round it up, and so on and so forth. And they all do very well at it. But also, I need to get back on it. But I've been writing a beginner's curriculum, kind of like the Abana level 1, Abana level 2, so on.
Yeah.
But this is for true beginners.
Right.
This will take you from you have nothing to now you understand the 6 or 7 base fundamentals.
Right.
And now you can do pretty much any project you set your mind to.
There is a little bit of a gap in Abana level 1 is pretty good for beginners, but there's still, I always break it down to we teach classes from how to stand at the anvil and how heavy your hammer should be, all the way up to we had a class plan that got canceled, but there was no forging. It was just the Symposium of Pattern Welded Steel. And we were going to talk about geometry.
Yep.
With no forging whatsoever.
Yeah.
And there is a missed bucket, I think, in the blacksmithing community of the how to stand in an anvil, what are tongs, where do I hold the tongs? Mm-hmm. Wow, my arm is really tired. This only weighs 2.5 pounds. How is my arm this tired already? Like those first 6 hours in the forge that really get people excited. A lot of times, and this is something that I've experienced because, like I said, I'm just like, heat it up, hit it. And I watch people come in with so much enthusiasm and they're so ready to work and they think this is super cool and they've watched a couple videos online or their grandpa was a blacksmith, whatever got them into it. And then within an hour, they're like, that's it? Yeah. And it's like, no. Like I just want you to get comfortable at this. So I've adopted a little bit of I'll draw an X on the anvil and say, I want you to move the material, not your hammer. Yeah. I want you to try to tuck your elbow in, like stuff like that. But there is a little bit of a miss, I would say, in saying, just go try level 1. Yeah. Because that's going to be very, very frustrating to anybody that's not been doing it for, say 6 months a year, know, and I've seen guys who've been doing it for 5 or 6 years. Me. Who struggled with level 1. Now, I didn't start with great fundamentals. I was just there to strike. so it was like I knew how to swing a hammer. I didn't know anything about tong work. I didn't know anything about forge control. I didn't know anything about where to stand at the anvil, what part of the anvil to use for what. It was always just, I put tool here, you hit top of tool. Yeah. So even guys that have been doing it a while that maybe only know one discipline inside the craft struggle with that really hard. So getting it back to, like you said, 5 or 6 basics of this is a taper. This is how you round off a taper. You're kind of expected to know that going into level 1. Yeah. It's just testing you on if you can do it well. Yeah. Yeah. Cause it's like, if you have to, how many people know how to punch a hole accurately and efficiently? Yeah. I'm at about 75%, I'd say. Yeah. I've been doing it a long time. And how many people know how to make a tenon? Yeah. On the end of that shackle without using a press or a guillotine. Or, like most can't. And, but it's also, you need to make the tools to make the tools to make the thing. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing, that Kurt does a lot of is yes, we could just do the thing, but also it's, if we spend the extra time to make the tooling, then we're good to go. Right. Like if we ever have to do anything similar to that, we already have it. And our result's going to be way more uniform because we're doing it off the tool, not off of eyesight. Yes. That's the thing that I learned is like, I've always known, growing up, it's one of the things that kind of was, like it's going to be easier if you just take the time to plan, right? Mm-hmm. Like that has always made sense to me. But going to Kurt's and seeing the amount of top tooling, the amount of little jigs he has, stuff like that. And then being able to directly correlate that to, oh man, everything's uniform. We made that Kolnick inspired gate. Mm-hmm. And having the 3 or 4 guys working with the same tool, we got the exact same result. If we were doing that by hand, would have been impossible. I had to fix a couple punches that were a little bit off, but also we punched, I don't know, probably 100 eyes in 3 hours. Yeah. And it was just like, you flip the thing over, you knock it in. Oh, there's my center point. Yep. And then I can punch. So maybe if we had a jig for the actual punching of the 3, they would have lined up better. But you're going to have that. But having the tool creates a way better outcome, which I never expected. It was always just like, this is going to be easier. No, it's repeatability and consistency is the key to that all. Because especially in that aspect where you had, 7 bars passing through 7 bars, you have no wiggle room really. Well, and then we also had the time, like I said, to punch 100 eyes and then pull, that one's no good. That one works. That one's, I can fix that. Yeah. So you kind of got to pick from the best of the best, where if you were doing it by hand, you wouldn't have time to make all 100. Yeah. You would have to go with what you had. And when we take that gate places, you go to blacksmithing events, and I don't want to sound rude, but you go to blacksmithing events and you have two reasons why people stop. Either, oh my God, or, oh my God, and that gate is the one that stops and people go, holy crap, that is so cool. You're telling me that you taught 20 people over the course of this project how to hold a hammer, and this is your result, compared to like, yeah, you guys did great. Like when you go to School of Rock concerts and it's like, yeah, that was Limp Bizkit. You did that, buddy.
Yeah.
But what you guys are able to achieve there definitely has a ton to do with Kurt's knowledge and, not just within blacksmithing physically, but also his blacksmithing history. He picked Kolnick because of what he had been reading, and he had bought a book and he was really inspired by this guy over the, whatever. So he was on a Kolnick kick a little bit. And then because of that, we made a Kolnick gate. And what you guys are able to do, it's such a culmination of proper tooling, the ability to make new tooling. You start with the basics and the foundation of technique. I don't think Kurt has as many toys as people would think. We talk about Kurt a lot on this podcast, and I think we've built his shop up to be, 750,000 square feet and one of every power hammer ever made. And it's like,
no,
dude's got 3 power hammers, 2 that he runs, a little K75-ish guy. That's yours, but it's in the shop.
Technically mine. I leave it there because it's useful.
Yeah.
Especially for our Thursday night classes where it's like, we don't let anybody just run the hammers.
Yeah.
And that's the key thing about Thursday nights is we don't turn on those hammers.
Right.
Kurt will turn it on, to
scare people.
Well, there's that. But like if there's something we specifically need to do, or, we need to draw out material for a specific project, he will turn it on, or I'll turn it on, and we'll draw out the material and then shut it back off.
Yeah.
It's like, we know how to do it by hand, but when you're drawing down, 1 inch square and you need to go to 3/8, just turn the hammer on. Like we could do it by hand, but just turn the hammer on.
Right.
But nobody runs that hammer other than just a few of us. So it's all handwork. It's all hand hammering. And there will be occasions where it's like, okay, well, we need a little bit of striking here and there. And that's another part that I like is that, when I started, it was just hand hammering. And then I got to hanging around Rob more and seeing what he did and how he has the Brazil style of forging. And, I got to hang out with Ed. I got to hang out with Brian. And it was like, okay, I like this as well.
Yeah.
So Rob and I then became a team, and I'd be over at his house almost every weekend. And we've forged many, many hammers.
Yeah.
And we've gotten to the point where we weren't even trying. We were just screwing around out in the shop, and we forged a hammer in 48 minutes.
Yeah.
And we didn't even talk. We didn't even say anything to anybody, each other. It was just like, well, we're here to do the thing. Let's do the thing.
Yeah, that's something I've never experienced. So me and Nathan kind of got there when I first started forging with him and being a striker. But one thing that always shocks me, and maybe it's just because I know the work that it takes to get there, but you and Rob have that. You and Dan, for the most part, have that. You and Kevin, for the most part, have that. To where if we were to do a competition of, you have to forge a hammer and you can't say a word to your striker, you would have 4 or 5 guys that you could do that with. I don't think I know anybody that has more than one other guy. There are other people that work together, like Ling and Larson could probably do it, right?
Yeah.
Ed and Brian could do it. They would have to be allowed to bicker, but they couldn't talk about what they're doing on the billet.
Yeah.
They would have to fight about other things, but they're the best. But the camaraderie that comes from spending that much time, and we talk about it with War's Way and it creating synapses and actually helps you with motor function, and it has direct correlation to mental well-being as well as all the physical side effects you get from it. But you're one of the, like I said, you're maybe the one, or maybe Rob could do it with a few other people, but you have this such good ability to immediately not clone somebody else's personality. It's not like you become them, but you're able to interpret them in a way that makes them completely comfortable with you, trust you. And your interaction is just like, it's not like a normal teacher and student where it's like, you want to move that over there because this is why. It's like, I don't want to call it motherly, but it's almost motherly, where it's like, hey bud, like let's try this a couple other ways and you tell me what you think is best. And then I'll tell you what the correct way to do it. And then we can find, we can talk about that. And it's a lot more, maybe it is just because you are focused on the foundations more than the result, because the result will come.
Yes.
You have to have the foundations first. But going to Kurt's, I go when I can. It's a pretty far drive for me.
Yeah.
But it's very worth it. And what I was saying is that I think we've built this thing up to be like, wow, Kurt's is like this ultimate party. And, there's everyone has their own power hammer in every single cell. And it's like, when you go there, like there's 2 power hammers that are running and operable consistently. There's a press that is terrifying to run, and I've never been in the building. I've only seen a video. There's welders. There's all kinds of tools, but that's not what he has a ton of. What he has a ton of is anvils and coal forges, because that's what you're teaching, and that's the foundation, right?
Yeah.
Like if you can bleep this if you need to, Evan. If Brian came in and wanted to run the hammer one night, it'd be like, no, we're not going to do that, buddy. We teach hand hammering and stuff.
Yeah.
In 2 or 3 years, Brian might come in and it's like, hey, Brian, do you want to run the hammer? But it's because he'll have the foundations by then. And Brian does wonderful work. He's one of the guys that goes out there. So I don't want anybody to think I could have said ranch. I could have said a lot of other people. I was just the first one that came to mind. But in the direct correlation of teaching the foundations and the basics, it almost feels like you've come up with Paul. So you're a little bit more willing to say, hey man, I was kind of struggling with this here. As opposed to when you have somebody that's teaching you, it's like, oh man, I know he's shown this to me 5 times. And then you always hear the person that's like, well, every time he shows me, it's different. And with Kurt, that's true.
That is true. He changes it up every single time just to screw with me.
Yeah. But with you, it's people get that immediate, like, we're in this together. We're in the trenches, so to say. Yeah. We have this raw billet and we need to turn it into a flower or a hammer or a pair of tongs or, whatever. And, the initial point, that was a huge long rant, and I'm so sorry for taking all of your stage time. When you start with those foundations, I think not only does it make more of a connection with your work and what you're doing, but that also leans into you were at Paul's or Rob's every weekend. You're at Kurt's every single night. It creates things. I love metalwork. I love industry. I love what we do here. I love coming in doing the IBA meetings. I love forging. So much more important to that is the connections I've made through it.
Yeah.
If somebody told me you could never see Paul again a day in your life, or you could never forge again, I'd put down forging tomorrow, and I'm not expecting to be that important to you. You don't have to say it back, but the connections I've made through forging are so much more important. And I think that's, obviously I want to know about your history and all that, but I did want to mention that, the focus of this podcast is you, but you are such a great example of what the blacksmithing community is aside from blacksmithing. I wanted to make that point of like, you didn't get into it because you knew 15 blacksmiths. You knew one other guy that also thought it might be cool, and a year later drug him into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and it's fun. Yeah, I've made a lot of connections with, a lot of other smiths all across the state, all across the country. Because it's Andrew and Mark and Jonathan, Rob and Jamie, and just all of them everywhere.
Yeah,
and I love it, and because I could text them and be like, hey, I've got this weird thing. Like, have you ever seen something like this? Yeah. And some of them will jokingly say, screw off.
Yeah.
But then they'll, actually try and answer my question, or they've some of them have reached out to me like, hey, I'm trying to do this thing, and it's like, well, I don't know, but I know somebody else that might.
Right.
So let me get you in contact with them. And it's just, everybody is a great resource, and the community that we've built here is what I want. I want an open environment for, no. I mean, yes, we might heckle you a little bit for, well, that's not how I do it.
Yeah.
You know what I would do?
I got to warn you about Kurt, and I got to warn you about Kevin.
Yeah.
Everybody else is going to be nice.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's an open community for anybody and everybody to come in and learn. Like I will teach anybody anything that they want to know. And if I don't know, I will find somebody to help you.
Yeah.
And that's what I want. I want our community to grow. Like, that's why I've tried to step up and do as much as I am. And I always feel like I could do more, and I should do more. Is it feasible? No, but it's what I feel. But it's what I feel like I should do. And I just want to get it out there, and I want more people to be interested in it. And I don't want people to be afraid that it's unobtainable. It's not unobtainable. Like, we started teaching Noah at 8. We've got a couple other kids that have come through. They were 6 and 7. If they can do it, anybody can.
Greg's kids are 5 and 6.5, I think, and they were out forging the entire time at Kurt's.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and you were out there helping them. Kevin was out there. No, he wasn't out there. He was helping.
Kevin helped for a little bit with them.
Yeah, okay. Because he was making the switch block with Noah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, and it's what we want. It's what we want to promote. Like, and that's why I joined the IBA. And then Rob asked me if I wanted to be a board member, and so I said yes. And now I'm the vice president, and I keep doing more and more, and because I just want it to grow.
Yeah.
I want it to be enjoyable to everyone, and you will have those few that aren't happy with anything.
Sure.
And it is what it is.
I think there is in large groups like the IBA or Abana, you need people who, maybe they're wrong 99% of the time and it's really annoying, but sometimes they'll say something and then all of a sudden you'll hear 4 or 5 other people that are like, yeah, no, wait, he's right. And we tend to go with the flow so often as people that it's like, well, I've only been part of the IBA for 3 or 4 years. It's not my voice, or it's not when. Then you get, I'm trying to think of a name that's not in the IBA, like a Lynn. You get a Lynn that's just like, nope, you're doing it all wrong. You got to have this set up for the demonstrations. And then it's like, well, thank you very much, because we're going to do that.
Yeah.
And, going against the grain isn't always bad. So you almost have to have those few hecklers in your group to be successful.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it's always that, the questionative part. Yeah. Right. Like, somebody's like, well, why are you doing it that way? Well, it's just the way we've always done it. No. I vehemently stand against that.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know why we are doing it. And if nobody can tell me why we are doing it the way we're doing it, then I need to understand, like, there's got to be a better way.
Right.
And 9 times out of 10, there is a better way. Like,
well, and there's also we've always done it that way. So say we've got the shipping container now, but say we were storing that on someone's property and they had to bring it up every single IBA meeting. It's just like, bring it up, bring out all the anvils and bring out all the merch and, what have you. Well, why are we doing it this way? Well, Gary's always done it that way. That's how he's always done it. And then you go to Gary and you say, Gary, how would you like if we just kept that here on the fairgrounds? And then he's going to go, oh, thank God, it has been an eyesore in my yard for 30 years. I don't even like driving it up there. I haven't been a full-time trucker in 10 years, and then you find out we've always done it this way has cracks all the way through it. And a phone call to the fairgrounds and we're done.
Yep.
This is the last time you have to drop it off.
Yep. So. And it can live there.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, and we're making strides to make things a lot better within the IBA, because the IBA has been around for 40 some odd years now. And up until recently, we've been a bit behind the times. And Rob has done a very good job, bringing us further into the 21st century. We've got the new website set up. We've got the new membership registration, like all that can be done online, and with the conference, I worked to make sure that we had a POS system available to where we could take credit cards, we could take cash, we could take all of that instead of, well, it's either cash or check.
Yeah.
That's all we got.
Yeah.
So, being able to take an electronic payment and do early registration, other than just, well, there's a page in the newsletter, just fill that out and mail that off. Yeah. Which, if that's what you want to do, that's what you would do. But being able to have it online where people can pre-register and pay right there, I feel it was absolutely needed. And so that was one of my goals, was to strive to make sure that could happen. Yeah. And it worked out. Like we were able to do massive amounts, not massive, we more than doubled what we could technically intake, or what we technically intook for the year prior, just because we were able to take cards. Yeah. And it's little things like that in the long run will make so much of a difference. And there's always small little improvements that you can make here and there that makes everyone's life so much better. Yeah. And
that can be said about just about anybody or anything in your life, not just about, whatever non-for-profit you work with or your job. It's like, going back to the making a jig or making a tool, like those small improvements are what make things attainable, which kind of wraps into, you see blacksmithing as, you look at the Colnick Gates or Francis Whitaker, or you see all these guys that have these huge histories behind them. And it's like, well, I'm 35 years old. If I start this today, by the time I'm 65 and want to retire, I might be okay at it. And it's like, those incremental victories are so important to no matter what you're doing. It's like just getting a win today is important.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And everybody needs that small little morale boost that comes along with it. Yeah. The dopamine that comes with it.
Yeah, and your buddies, you need your buddies to be like, wow. Yeah. And not in like a wow, sarcastic. Buddy. Yeah, like not sarcastic, wow. But like I've seen, Dan and Kevin watch Rob forge and why? Oh, okay. And kind of follow along. And it's like, these guys spend at least a couple hours a week with each other. But then when you get a 12-hour window at SOFA where it's just forging nonstop, they're going to pull out some tricks that you haven't seen them use yet. Yeah. Or you're going to get some little kid that comes up and is like really cute and wants SpongeBob or, whatever. And it's like, I want you to forge me this. And like new projects that you wouldn't have done on your own, but how to do, it's... So those little wins and having the camaraderie around is important.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And, going back to how I got all into this, I was only 3 months into forging, when Kurt was like, "You're coming with me to Texas tour." So it was 3 months in. I'm like, I don't even know really what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah.
And we'd take a trip on down to Texas for our conference down there, or the conference, the Crossroads Conference. And I was his helper. Like, and at that time, you know, I didn't really know anybody. It was just like, all right, well, I guess I'm going with Kurt. So
he's scary if I say no.
So we made it down there, and just instantly, it was like, this is what I want to be. Like, this is, like, when I first walked into Kurt's shop, it was like, this is where I need to be.
Yeah.
Like, this is what it was. Like, because, you know, I saw the guys there, they were working on the project, and it was like, okay, yes, this is what I want to do. And I was Kurt's helper down there, holding tooling and everything else for him underneath the power hammer and learning all these things.
Have you, did by that point, had you learned to decipher Kurt yet, or were you still having trouble?
Yes and no. I mean, I understand Kurt very well.
Yeah.
Like, even by that point, so I worked in a call center for years.
Gotcha.
So I can understand fairly well what people are trying to say.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too difficult for me. Now, there are still some times where I'll just like look at him, and then I'll lean in a little bit and like, what did you say?
Yeah.
Or I'll just be, you know, like, say it again, because you've got the roar of the fire here, the hammer running over there, that doing that, somebody grinding back here, and you're, okay. It's like, that's all I got, because everything else is assaulting me.
Yeah, he when it's one-on-one, we do a lot of Kurt impressions on the podcast, but when it's one-on-one, it's very much like, all right, like, it's a gruff voice, it's gravelly, there's some twang in there, but you can hear him just fine.
Yep.
Kurt has worked around steam hammers and forges for so long that he forgets that he needs to raise his voice. So he'll come up during a project or something that I'm working on, and he'll just get behind me and be like, I turn around, I have to be like, Kurt, what? And it's like, I don't need you to scream. And I think that's where like the first time that Corbin went over, he came back and he was like, you know, thank you so much for telling me about Kurt. I don't know anything he said. You know, I don't, why did he yell at me the entire time? And it's like, well, because you couldn't hear him. He's got whisper or yell. There's no in between.
Yeah, just like one of the things that Rob and I keep saying, Kurt never puts anything down. It's always toss.
It's like when you're throwing ping pongs in the goldfish.
Yeah,
it's like that specific kind of toss. He's just like.
Yeah, he just tosses it down. Like, he never really sets anything down.
No.
And to his credit, like, it's never been a problem.
No.
But it's just funny, the small little mannerisms you see between everybody.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and there's a few things with Rob where anytime he goes around to look at anything, he's always like, he just touches it with the back of his hand real quick and then just picks it up. And it's like, it's a good habit to have.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, okay, no, that's not hot.
Yeah.
But he does it even to things that would never be hot. Like, I've seen him.
Ketchup bottle.
Yeah, I've seen him do it too. Like, I've seen him do it to some tooling. Like, an end mill that was just sitting in a drawer. I've seen him touch it with the back of his hand and then pick it up. And it was like, okay. All right.
Yeah. It is a good habit to have, though.
Yeah. And then another one is he'll pick something up and carry it around and then set it down somewhere else. Like, I've noticed that before, and he mentioned it to me.
He does like hold it into his chest too.
Well, yeah, he walks around and then sets it down.
Yeah.
And then I know where most of the things are in his shop. And like, he'll message me. He's like, where was that thing? It's like, over that way. Because it's just what my brain does.
Yeah.
I memorize where everything is, unbeknownst to myself most of the time. But it's like, oh, wait, no, that's over that way on the third shelf down, halfway in the back, behind that piece. Like, why I know that is there, I have no idea, but I do. And there's just small mannerisms with everybody, and it's great.
I like Rob's. Like most guys have a grunt, like, he has like such a, like it's like a judgmental, like he'll be looking at something he really likes and he'll just,
yeah. He's like, I don't know if I like this or hate this. And to him, he's like, yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But to you, you're like, does he hate it?
Yeah.
Does he like it?
It took me a solid probably year to realize, like, I think Rob likes me. For like a year, I was like, no, that guy hates me. Please, somebody else talk to him.
Yeah. And that's it. Well, and that's one thing with Rob too. He comes off like he's, going to be an absolute asshole, or he just hates everything. And it's like, no, like,
well, and he does the opposite. I've seen him put people in their place, like nothing like, small stuff, but it's like, hey, those are my tools. Put them back on the TV tray, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he does the opposite where he's like, hey, slugger, you having a fun time with my tools? Well, would it be appropriate if you treated them with a little respect? Because I spent a lot of time bringing them out here. And it's like when he gets into that nice mode, it's like, everybody run. Just get out of here. But if he really likes you, it's like, oh God, I think he hates me.
Yeah. There's been a few that are like, can you ask him that? And I'm like, just go ask him. Yeah. Like, what are you talking about?
He's the biggest teddy bear.
Like, I don't think he likes me.
Yeah.
Like, have you talked to him?
Yeah.
Well, no.
He just looked my direction once.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to play this game, and we're probably wrapping up near an hour, but Evan's in his phone, so he's lost interest. I wanted to play this game, but you wore jeans today, and I wanted to play What's in Your Pockets because you're so well known for.
Yes. As of right now, no. I have. Normally, I will pack my pants before I, head out to the shop or whatever. As it stands right now, it's 2 pins, a knife, 4 pieces of soapstone, a phone, wallet, and keys.
And this is like casual. You just got off work.
Yes.
And you carried soapstone to work just in case.
Yes.
So, on a typical outing, what is the weirdest thing that you happen to have on you that somebody requested? Because I've seen some weird stuff come out of pockets.
I mean, I don't know. I just carry everything. Like
a full-size speed square, I think, was the weirdest thing.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Somebody was like, oh, does anybody have a square? And I expected, let me run to my truck. And you literally went like this one.
Yep. Yeah, that was, I had the square on me at the time. The other one was the first Andy Davis hammer in. They were trying to switch out a propane tank, and everybody was scrambling to look for a wrench, and I just pulled it out of my pocket. Here's a crescent wrench. And then it was, you need a pair of pliers to go along with that. Here you go. I had a full set of adjustable pliers. And I normally carry the tape, my little tape measure and my ruler on me. The problem is most of the time when I'm preparing for work, I can't carry any of that into the building.
Well, obviously.
like even a ruler.
Even if it wasn't a safety concern, they would think you're a crazy person.
I mean, there's no think about it.
Like, this guy is coding and fixing bugs in our computer all day, and he has soapstone and a speed square on him.
I mean, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I do carry a lot in my pockets just because, Boy Scout in me is just.
Oh, yeah, you were an Eagle Scout, right?
No, I was never an Eagle Scout.
Okay.
I was a Boy Scout because they never really did the things that I wanted to do. Oh. So it was just like, I always thought I was, well, this is going to sound horrible. I always thought I was better than what we were doing.
Sure.
Because, it's like, oh, well, we're going to try and make this nest for the fire and all of that. And I'm like, I mean, I can already do that. I've been doing that for the last 10 years. And like, I'm 12 now. Like, I learned that when I was real young. Like, growing up, how we did, we made the best we could with what little we had.
Yeah, I had kind of the same experience. I didn't do Boy Scouts. I did this thing called Royal Rangers. Royal Rangers. Everybody makes fun of me for the way I say that.
Rural.
Rural. But it's essentially just Boy Scouts at church. It's through the Assembly of God. And so there's like, it's like Buckaroos, something or other, Pioneers, and then Rangers.
Yeah.
And then once you graduated from Pioneers to Rangers, it was like, I'm not learning anything. It's like, well, we're going winter camping. And it's like, right, I've been doing that for 8 years. Like, you know, with either with my family or, you know, we'd go on a couple with the group. It's like, once I hit like 14 years old, they were like, well, you know, to get all these 4 badges, you need to be a Golden Ranger. You have to do this stuff. And it's like, okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. But
yeah. Yeah. And like, I always try to be prepared. You know, I hope for the best, plan for the worst. Like, that's how I've lived my life for most of my time.
Yeah.
And like, whenever, like, Jesse and I used to go camping and hiking and all that all the time. And you can ask any of them that would go with us. I would carry everything in the kitchen sink with me my pack would be 150, 200 pounds, and we'd hike 5 miles, and it's nothing. Like, I'm a mule. Like, I strong as ox, and I just keep going. Like, but it's like, okay, well, if I'm hiking in here, I want to enjoy my time. So yes, I'm going to take ground beef with me so I can have burgers. Or
camping with you is a whole different experience of camping. It is a small apartment, like the village that you create when we go places is insane. Thank God for Kevin to come and help with that, because I would feel so bad. When we go to Abana or to Sofo, which are the 2 places I've camped with you at, I would feel so bad because you guys are so generous and so welcoming me that I'm not allowed to tell you no when you feed me or to camp with you. So I'll go the day before usually and set up my area for Cole. And then I'll either, go to the hotel room and then I'll camp with you guys once you come out. But like, I don't have the time to set up camp with you guys. And if I were to come back and it was just you setting up camp, which it very easily could turn into that if you didn't have both you and Kevin saying, hey, I need this over here, I need that moved over there. You are so in the work that when people are like, well, what do you need me to do? You're like, hold on a second. And you've got 5 things you want to do before you get to them. Where Kevin is totally okay with, he's a little bit better than you at, he's carrying something and is able, well, I don't, go find something. Yeah. You can do this if you really can't think of anything. But the small cities that you build when we go camping, maybe we'll have to talk about that next time you come in another 3 years of inviting you.
Well, I'm sorry you guys do this during the day when I'm supposed to be at work.
Well, someone's got to get paid to do it, Evan. I think that probably is going to cut us close. We're good? Evan's looking at me like he has no clue what I'm saying.
Keep going. We're a little past an hour, but you're good.
I have very important things to do tonight. I need to get out of here at 4:00, so we're going to wrap it up.
And that's fine with me. I've got a shop to get to.
Yes. Well, Paul, a man of many talents, pockets, and barns, we learned today. I very much appreciate you and what you do for us at Cole, for the community, for the IBA. Guys, come and check his stuff out on Saturday. We still don't even know what you're doing, and I like that. It's a nice little surprise.
Only 3 know. Nice.
Come and check it out. If you have any questions, hit us up. Appreciate y'all. Have a good one. Also, if we ever make you a t-shirt, it's just going to say I'm a mule. I want you to know that. Exact. Everything's the same. It'll say, and then